pretty happy memories of coming to Kent, given your stint over here playing club cricket?
Yeah, it was a fair while ago now, almost 9 years ago. But yeah, loved it. Played for Sandwich Town, and it was a great experience. Probably the start of setting me on the right track to starting my first class career.
So Marnus, when you answer questions, can you kind of look in the camera direction, even though the questions are coming from the sides?
How do you compare the lead up to this Test series as compared to 4 years ago when you had the big intra-club kit out at Southampton and it was pretty intense? This seems a little bit more kind of measured. Is that what your assessment?
Measured. I think it's just we're really well organised. We probably in 2019 we probably weren't as set on the team. There's probably a lot more questions about people coming back in. I think that was Steve, Dave and Cameron's sort of first entry back into Test cricket. There wasn't that much stability. Even with our bowlers, I mean, we played 3 or 4 different bowling attacks in 3 games. So I think there's a lot more clarity around our team, which I think creates that consistency. It creates the preparation instead of people playing for spots and feeling like they're vying for a position. Everyone sort of knows where they sit, and we can prepare and get ourselves ready.
Was that a bit, felt that was a bit dog eat dog, that situation? Did you find that?
I mean, I was on the better end of that. I wasn't in the mix at all, and I did well in that warm-up game and obviously in county cricket prior to that, so that helped me. But certainly a different feel now to then.
The recent county stint, you've enjoyed that. That's seeing that as good preparation for the 6 tests to come.
Yeah, people always sort of talk about that, the preparation. I mean, I've been coming back for 5 years now, so unless I'm preparing every year for a Test series over here, it's just part of my normal routine. I love coming here. I love playing county cricket. I love the team, at Glamorgan, and I enjoy it so much. So otherwise, I wouldn't be coming back. It just helps that this year is a Test Championship final and an Ashes year, so it's very helpful for leading into the series.
What do you think is your Marnus? Your returns you've always been pretty good in county cricket, 29 and Ashes. What do you reckon it is about England that suits your batting?
I think the back-to-back games really helps. Playing a lot of cricket with not much break in between, I think it really helps as a batter get rhythm and get feel, and you're able to learn from games rather than sort of stewing over technical things or changes that you sort of start at training. I think that's one of the big differences. In Australia, we might have a week and a half or even more between games. And I think then you go back to training, and you might have got out a certain way, and then you're sort of tinkering or trying to change your batting. Where you come, to England, you play Thursday to Sunday for 7 weeks straight, and then that just creates routine. It creates rhythm. So if you miss out a game, you just stick to the same process. You got Monday off. Tuesday you go into a training session, Wednesday you travel, and Thursday you play. So I think that rhythm creates really good habits of scoring runs, which I think that's what really helps as a batter over here.
Is it easy to keep that rhythm going into a period where you've got 6 tests in the space of 2 months? Because again, there's a lot of cricket being played in that period.
Yeah, 100%. I think it just helps you stick to the process, where when you have sort of big breaks between, it breaks up your rhythm a bit. Where I think when you're playing back-to-back tests, it really helps you stay in the zone, especially when you're scoring runs and going well.
For the preparation side, you obviously play India then England. It's a bit more like a county or a Shields season than you would normally do in Test cricket. How much prep can you do for India and then England on back-to-back, or is that not something you're worried about?
We've played a lot of, at least 2 of their main seamers that are going to play. Actually, all 3 probably, if Umesh plays as well. Yeah. 2 months ago we played against India. So in terms of seeing them and knowing their actions and what they do, we're pretty clear on that. Obviously, with a Duke ball in their hand, they're going to be able to showcase their skills a lot more. But the reality is we've played against I've certainly played against Ollie Robb, I've played against Josh Tongue, so and Matt Potts this year, so played against all those guys, know what they bowl, so it's just about preparing well and understanding what they're going to do. Obviously Jimmy, Brody and Ollie Robb are probably going to come back into that side, but yeah, I think it's just a matter of mentally preparing for each one. I think a lot of bowlers, you can get a lot of similarities from bowlers, even if they're playing for different teams.
Josh Tongue, he's got a bit of a weird action. Is he slightly hard to pick up as he comes in?
I actually saw some footage yesterday of him bowl, and I thought there's a lot of Scott Boland about his action, the way he runs in, sort of the angle he creates at the crease. But yeah, he's a nice bowler. I played him earlier this year in Cardiff, and yeah, he was very good.
What about the learnings from the series over in India in February and March? Is there anything you can take out of that tour for the Test Championship final?
I think that obviously it was disappointing not to win the series, but I thought we competed very well. We had a couple of bad sessions that probably cost us potentially a win in the series. That session in Delhi, we were very close, and then that changes the whole dynamic. You go 1-1 and we go 2-1 up potentially in indoor, and you never know what happens with that last game if they needed a victory. But all in all, I think it's always a great contest. Both teams have got great bowling lineups, got great batting lineups, so it's going to be an amazing contest at the Oval.
Can you actually take much from, talk about, obviously having played with the seamers recently, with the spinners, obviously on such different surfaces, do you take much about your learnings and how you played them there into here, or is it entirely different? You don't factor that into your thinking?
No, you definitely learn from how you played them over there. We obviously played on a pretty nice wicket the last test, so if there is a bit of spin and bounce, there's probably a bit more bounce here in England than there was in India. So that's just something to factor in, how they're going to bowl, how they're going to, Ashwin's tactics might change a little bit, Jadeja's tactics might change a little bit. So just adjusting to those on the fly out there and what they're going to try and do, and making sure you're nice and aware of where they're trying to get you out.
Marnus, on a more personal level, what are the key differences between when you came in 2019 before the Ashes and now?
Are you for me, like my batting?
Yeah, just showing yourself, the feeling, sort of your position in the team and so on.
The position in the team's significantly different, considering I wasn't even in the squad, and now I've sort of being, a more consistent player in the side. So in terms of the feeling, it's more about, preparation, where I feel like in 19 I felt like I had almost to prove to people that I was good enough. Where for me it's just about now just making sure I do my role on the side and work out ways to score runs, doesn't matter what the conditions are.
What about the
mentality? That comes with the confidence of scoring runs and being a consistent part of a team. You start getting more comfortable within the side and you understand your role a little bit better. So mentally, I'm as hungry as ever to score runs and want us to win the series. I really feel like we let one slip last time we were here, and hopefully we can amend that.
Do you feel like there's an sort of added sense of responsibility within yourself now?
Naturally, anyone that's batting 3 for Australia is going to have responsibility. So, I think even in 2019, that responsibility was there. It was my job to score runs, and if I didn't score runs, they'd find someone else to do that job. So I don't think that changes. It's about finding ways to score runs and contribute to the side in as many games as I can.
What did you make of Stuart Rhodes' comments a few weeks ago on the last series down under?
Look, I'm not gonna get into the verbal battle. All I'd say is it's a series, and Australia, we dominated that series, and that's about as much said. Take everything out of it. Our job is to perform on the field. Doesn't matter what the circumstances external, and we did that. So hopefully we can continue to do that this series.
You had such a good battle with Jofra Archer in 2019. Is there part of you that kind of wishes he was playing in this series?
I always want to play against the best players, so I think I never want someone to be injured or out injured. But obviously, any team, England's team that doesn't have Archer in it, isn't as strong. So that's always a benefit from a playing against perspective. But you always want to see the best players on the park as best you can. I think that's what's good for Test cricket. I think that's what's good for the game. So hopefully, we can get as many of England's bowlers on the park and playing in that first test.
You talked about Ollie Robertson before. You've obviously faced him a lot now. Height, accuracy, skills. What's the thing that makes him so unique, give him that great record?
Well, I mean, he's very skillful. He's a very skillful bowler. Uses his crease really well, swings it, can seam it, and he's very accurate. So all of those things put together puts him in. He's a high-class bowler, and I think his record speaks for itself. And yeah, obviously facing him has been great fun in the last match we played against Sussex, and yeah, it's going to be a good battle this series.
One more maybe, folks, and we'll wrap it
Just
up.
on the number one ranking, Marnus, you must be pretty proud to hold that top ranking and be in front of so many world-class batters around the world.
Yeah, it's certainly not something that I think about that much, to be honest. My job is to score runs for the team, and the rankings it's nice to be recognised, but it's certainly winning games for Australia is certainly more important than maintaining that ranking.
All good?